Alright, so latest development. UFC President Dana White has announced that Israel Adesanya will be defending his UFC middleweight belt against Sean Strickland at UFC 293 to kickstart his second title defense run.
UFC 293 is in Sydney, Australia on Saturday, September 9th. The main event, Israel Adesanya defends his middleweight title against fifth-ranked Sean Strickland.
And if I'll be honest, this fight doesn't excite me half as much as the du Plessis fight did. For me, I believe Israel versus Strickland doesn't hold as much potential as the du Plessis fight did. There's no eagerness to see this fight, there's no high level of anticipation, and no disrespect to the UFC, but this is actually an underwhelming replacement fight, if you ask me. However, the fact remains, aside from the currently injured number one contender, that's Dricus du Plessis, Sean Strickland is the only other middleweight fighter in the top 7 that easily doesn't hold a victory or maybe 2 over. So yeah, of course, it makes sense and it's very understandable that the promotion will give Sean Strickland the chance to face Izzy in the middleweight championship bout. Like I've made absolutely clear from the beginning of the video, this fight doesn't excite me. I personally do not see it going down as one of Adesanya's most memorable fights. Except for the case of a knockout on either side, this fight has the potential of ending up ranking as one of Izzy's most boring fights, honestly. I dare say the only fun we'll be getting from this matchup would come from everything leading up to the fight. I'm expecting the social media jabs, the sound bites from the interviews, the press conference, all that. All those leading up to the fight will be fun, but not the fight itself. And that's because we all know Sean Strickland has a loud mouth and likes to talk crap at his opponents, and he has particularly targeted Izzy in the past, and Izzy himself has shown to be a petty person, and he's not the kind of person that will be cool and just take such heat from Sean Strickland and keep quiet about it. So of course, we have seen a glimpse of what this is going to look like at the UFC 276 press conference, where Sean Strickland picked on Israel Adesanya.
Bro, trust me. I can tell you what, if you win this fight, when we fight, I knock you out, I'm going to do a TikTok dance over your grave.
Bro,
and
you don't want this guy's a champion.
Do something about it.
You don't want this guy's a champion.
Do something about it then.
So yeah, in my books, this is an outright promo fight, but inside the octagon, I don't see it being much fun. I'm seeing kind of a Izzy versus Cannonier fight here, the kind of fight where Izzy doesn't really do much, but then his opponents too don't get to do much, and at the end, Izzy wins by decision. And that's just my personal opinion. And on paper, I would say this season the hardest or the most challenging fight for Izzy. Stylistically, there's not much of a challenge for Izzy here because I've seen throughout his career, on his feet, hardly any fighter can stop Izzy. Even when he challenged Jan Blachowicz at a higher weight class, the wrestling was what made the difference. And Sean, even though he has wrestling as part of his weapons, as part of the things he's known for, he isn't particularly the greatest of wrestlers. And the only other time where I've seen Adesanya bested on his feet was when he faced Alex Pereira, and we all know it wasn't just the striking that made the difference there, it was the power. And once again, Sean Strickland doesn't pack that type of Pereira power. So once again, stylistically, this isn't really looking like a test for Adesanya. This is looking like a easy night in the office for him. So yeah, personally, I don't think Sean Strickland stand a chance against Israel Adesanya. I don't see Bruce Buffer screaming and new at the end of Adesanya versus Strickland. I don't see Sean walking out of UFC 293 with the belt wrapped around his waist. But then, in the off chance that Sean Strickland manages to get the job done, it would be a memorable upset. And that's the thing here. This is a make or break fight for Sean Strickland. I mean, absolutely no disrespect to Strickland, but if he fails to deliver an upset at UFC 293, I feel like it will be quite a while before his name gets thrown into the championship conversation at middleweight again, because we must agree, Strickland isn't getting this shot based on merit. His last 2 victories have been against unranked opponents, and the 2 ranked opponents he faced before those fights, he lost. So for his sake, Strickland really needs that upset, but do I see him getting it? Not really, if I'm being honest.